Hi everybody, Kirsty, Goddess of Neptune here. Hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world, of course. And just bringing you this astrology overview for the Mercury transit into Aries. Now, this happened earlier this morning, 19th of March for us here in the UK, GMT and British Standard Time at 4:25 a.m. Apply it to your own time zones. But now, as I'm recording this, Mercury is in Aries. So this is quite a profound transit in my view, because Mercury has moved from Pisces into Aries, and I've mentioned this in previous astrology overviews, that Mercury being in Pisces, in my view, was really enhancing that connection and communication to and from our source energy within, in other words, our intuition. So very much getting into that mystical energy of the Piscean energy, spiritual realm, 12th house, all of that, really into the subconscious levels as well, to truly understand the root of what we want, getting that guidance from our intuition and listening to it, allowing that Mercury energy to truly connect us into our intuition. Now Mercury's in Aries, so Mercury is now kickstarting off, and you think of the start of the zodiac, Aries is the start. Of course, Pisces is 12th house, Aries is first house. So we've kind of switched now from learning that wisdom previously whilst Mercury was in Pisces. What have we learned about ourselves via our communication with our own intuition, and how are we going to apply it now going forward? Mercury in Aries, in that cardinal sign of getting things started, taking action. Of course, Aries ruled by Mars, taking action, going after what we want, and Mercury energy, of course, communicating and expressing that, even if it's to ourselves, but this could relate to other people. Going within, whilst Mercury's in Pisces, and whilst all of this other energy is going on that I'm sure you're all aware of, I'm sure you're feeling it, all this change, all this transformation, going within, Mercury in Pisces, connecting to the intuition, truly understanding, okay, I've got that guidance now from my soul, I've got the clarity, and now it's about moving things forward and taking action and expressing what we want. Aries is about going after what we want, that warrior strength within, that sovereignty within, and truly having the courage to do that, to make things happen. So I'm going to just pull up the chart. We've got a lot coming up this week as well, which I'll come on to in a bit, but just bear with me whilst I pull the chart up. And of course, this is relating to when Mercury did transit into Aries, which was earlier this morning, as I was mentioning, 4:25 a.m. GMT or BST, British Standard Time. Apply it to your own time zones. So the degrees are going to be different now as I'm recording. This is just to show you when Mercury transited into Aries. We see Mercury at the bottom, 0 degrees of Aries. Now, as you can also see, just from looking at this particular chart, there's a lot of energy in that bottom half. There's a lot of energy going on in Pisces, a lot of energy going on in Aries, and a lot of energy going on in Taurus. So of course, Taurus is all about our worth and our values. Venus is there, as we know. So there is that sort of nurturing in terms of what we feel we are worthy of, any aspects where we have felt unworthy because of the Chiron aspects going on in Aries as well, the healing journey that we've been on. Has there been anything that's caused us to believe we're unworthy when actually we are worthy of great things? What is in alignment with our values? And Venus there nurturing us. So there's a lot coming up with change, because Uranus is, of course, in Taurus as well. So what needs to change when it comes to our worth and values? What is no longer in alignment with our worth and values? And then Aries, there's a lot going on there. We've got the Chiron healing aspects with Jupiter there, but we have still got Vesta there as supporting divine feminine energy. And now we have Mercury. So that expression of truth coming from the true warrior self in terms of what we want to do, where we want to take action, having the courage to express what we want, all of those aspects. And you'll notice that because Aries is the opposite sign to Libra, we have Ceres also there at 0 degrees, but of course in Libra. So opposite to the Mercury transit. And Ceres is, small but has big expansive energy like Jupiter. I like to think of it as a mini Jupiter, and it offers that expansive energy. So there might be some aspects of where maybe things need to be fair and balanced because of the Libra energy. And there's expansion of that, almost that illumination of that. And that could be causing a bit of inner conflict when it comes to our expression, because we want things to be fair, we want things to be balanced, but it might just be testing our expression. And that's where we really need to find that warrior spirit within, that Aries energy, Mercury in Aries. So as a siren goes past. So yeah, absolutely. So Pisces also, a lot of energy going on there. We know Saturn is now in Pisces, and boy, have we felt that. And if it's resonating for you and you're nodding to that because you can feel already what Saturn has been showing us since moving from Aquarius into Pisces, this is heavy energy. And of course, we have Neptune in the home sign of Pisces, and we still have the sun for a little bit longer, although the sun will be moving into Aries in a couple of days. So that's going to enhance that Aries energy even more when we kickstart Aries season with the sun moving in. Then we've got a new moon coming up. So there's still a lot going on, really. I have to mention, as I've mentioned in other readings, Pluto is still, of course, final degrees of Capricorn, ready to move into Aquarius later this week, folks, the 23rd. So this is all about that transformation, and deep transformation at that. Pluto is known as the god of the underworld. This is scorpionic energy. This is getting to the depths of the soul and drudging up all the stuff that needs to be purged out. And it's uncomfortable, challenging, but necessary. So this is what Pluto is calling for, and moving into Aquarius from Capricorn. And we know Saturn rules Capricorn. So when you think of that regimented aspect, rules can also be business orientated as well, but also karma. And then moving into Aquarius, where there is almost that liberation of the transformation that's needed, Pluto can just come into where Saturn has been for the past 3 years. Of course, no longer there because he's now in Pisces, but where he's been for the last 3 years, and Pluto can come in and go, right, I can see what Saturn has now been highlighting here. So up with that, that's got to go, purge, purge, purge. And it could feel equally as intense, maybe even more so. However, for those of you resonating with this deeply, that have been on this healing journey for a while, you're going to know that transformation has been called for a while. Change has been called for a while. So it's not going to come as any surprise. Those in the collective who are just waking up on their spiritual journey, just understanding the healing journey, could be finding it particularly uncomfortable and challenging. So there is also that awareness, if you're sensitive to energy, of feeling that within the collective, that inner chaos and conflict coming up to the surface. And of course, then it's reflected back to us in our external reality. So just be mindful of that. But the Mercury, to go back to Mercury in Aries, that is certainly empowering us to communicate from our authentic warrior self. The sort of lack of confidence aspects could play a part because of the healing journey that's going on, because if wounds are still being healed, there could be an element of confidence that needs to be healed as well in order to express from the true warrior self. But it feels like we're getting there, and this energy is certainly supporting that. As I mentioned, having gone within with Mercury and Pisces, if you've been using and working with that energy to truly connect in to your intuition, to understand what it is you now need to do and take action with moving forward into Aries, then this is going to be great energy to transition from Mercury and Pisces to Mercury and Aries. And of course, we should always remain connected to our intuition. But the energy was clearly, in my view, enhancing that with Mercury being there in the sign of Pisces. So now, if we think, well, we've always got to really communicate what we want, that's freedom of expression, That is us using our voice in terms of our authenticity and our integrity, what's in alignment with us, but being empowered to do so with that Aries energy, with that warrior energy, with that sovereignty, being empowered to do it. So again, yes, we should always feel comfortable, but sometimes we might not. So this energy is supporting us to truly feel like we can now express what it is we've gone within and we've learnt with that Pisces energy. Okay, I've seen what Saturn has shown me. Now Saturn has moved into Pisces. I've seen those lessons. I've connected in with my intuition, Mercury in Pisces, and I understand now what I need to do to now course correct, or where I need to go now, because of course I recognize this as a journey. I'm always learning. But of course, what that's shown me, I now know I've got to take action in a certain way, whatever that is. So that's then that empowerment to move forward as we enter into that Aries energy. Of course, recognizing that we still have Lilith in Virgo. So there is that aspect of being a bit self-critical, potentially. And that could be the sort of darker side of this healing journey of, you know, we're getting through the healing journey, we're becoming more empowered, we're learning more about ourselves. Saturn has shown us what we need to do based on the lessons whilst he was in Aquarius. And of course, what choices we made and any lessons that haven't yet been learnt from our time when he was in Aquarius the past few years. Pluto calling for that transformation. So we don't want to be feeling like we're under pressure here because everything is sort of, you know, intensifying, but we need to work with the energy and recognize if we're aware of what Saturn has shown us, and we are truly aware because we've connected into our intuition whilst Mercury was in Pisces, we're truly aware of what we need to transform. That's true expression to ourselves, isn't it? Because we're aware of it. So we've already told ourselves that is what needs to change. But this is also where you might need to be conversing with others in terms of your expression of truth. And the self-critical aspect can come in with Lilith and can just make it a bit potentially uncomfortable and maybe casts a bit of a shadow of doubt. Whereas we want to feel empowered, we want to feel strong, we want to feel encouraged to be able to express our authenticity. And that's, of course, in alignment with our worth and values that Venus has been nurturing us through since entering into Taurus, and the truth of our worth and values. So if we know something is not in alignment with us anymore, because we've seen the lesson of Saturn, we've checked in with our intuition, we know what's no longer in alignment with our values. So all of that going on in Taurus, we're aware of where the change needs to happen. So therefore, it's about being truthful in your expression, even if it's to yourself. Right, okay, I've seen it, I know it, this is what needs to change. And being strategic potentially as well about putting plans in place. But that in itself is taking action. That is Aries energy taking action. So it is very positive. That's how it feels to me. It can be positive, even amidst all this intense energy that's going on. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stop sharing this one and I'm going to pull up the chart based on the UK chart. So again, this is specific to the UK natal chart. It's not going to be the same for every other chart. This is why natal charts are unique, but it just gives you some idea. With this Mercury transit into Aries that you can see highlighted at the top there with the yellow line. Interestingly, that was on top of the UK's Uranus in the 9th house. 9th house being about beliefs, can be religion as well. But when you think of beliefs, our belief system, Uranus is there, and that's a great energy. So within the UK's natal chart, that's a great energy to almost be open for innovation, new ideas when it comes to our beliefs as a collective. And Jupiter's there that can expand that energy. So that's positive empowerment of change within a belief system. And Mercury is also there in the natal chart. So there is that expansion of change and innovation within our own beliefs, and being able to communicate and express that freely in the 9th house, and to learn from that as well, to learn from each other when it comes to change in that way as a collective. So Mercury transiting through is right there sort of on that line, but still in the 9th house on top of that Uranus. So really enhancing that Mercury energy, because Mercury is in the same house as well, but almost calling for that expression of truth and, you know, change, where change needs to happen from that warrior self, because it's both Aries energy. So even though Mercury and Jupiter are in the 9th house within the UK's natal chart, they're actually in Pisces. However, Uranus is there in Aries, and that's exactly where Mercury is, you know, at the moment, Mercury in Aries. So when it transited into Aries, it was 0 degrees. So on top of 0 degrees, Uranus within the natal chart. So expression of change when it comes to our beliefs. And remember that the Mercury in Pisces energy of really going within, understanding what needs to change, this is allowing for that change even more so when it comes to our sovereignty, if we as a collective want to be empowered to do so. And that can create really positive change on the planet, if that's resonating, of course. The other Aries energy that's transiting through is into the 10th house, which is, you know, work and social status, etc. I know I've covered that in previous reports. But we see that Ceres is transiting through, of course, Libra, as we know, but that is in the 3rd house of the UK's natal chart, and Lilith is sitting in the 3rd house of the natal chart there, although in Virgo, but still in the 3rd house. 3rd house is about communication. It's Gemini's house. So we have Mercury opposite Ceres when it comes to beliefs and expression and communication. So that's where there can be some conflict with that opposing energy. It's recognizing there can be positive expansion if we can work with that energy and feel almost, I want to say, kind of open to it, because when you think of expanding, it's like opening up to something. So by feeling open to express who we are, what we want to do with our lives, that's empowering the Aries energy and enhancing the communication energy. But Lilith is there to still give that self-critical aspect when it comes to communication. So it's just to be aware of that, if that's resonating for you at all. And that's of course on the UK's Lilith. But Lilith herself is transiting through the 2nd house of worth and values, and is conjunct the UK's moon. So again, with feelings, and my throat chakra went there. So this is quite, I'm feeling that this is quite powerful when it comes to us expressing as a collective, potentially, us feeling free and open to be able to express what we want when it comes to what needs to change in our beliefs, and feeling content enough to be able to do that, eradicating the doubt that Lilith could be just, you know, throwing that shadow on. We don't want to be feeling self-critical when it comes to being open. We need to feel open to express what we want to express. And looking at where Pluto is at the moment, transiting through the 7th house, so relationships. So this is involving transformation within our relationships with people, places, things. And that's where change is happening, because this transformation is being called for. So it's very much that deep transformative purge that is needed, and recognizing that the healing journey that's been going on within our social status as a collective within the UK, just based on this chart, is something that's needed to empower us when it comes to our worth and values. But now this almost push-pull energy between expression of who we are and what we want, expression of where we know things need to change when it comes to our beliefs, but being accepting of that, because that Mercury energy also is about thoughts, not just expression, communication, but thoughts, because that in itself is us communicating with ourselves. So we want that to be in a positive way, not in a negative way, because that's feeding the Lilith energy if it's in a negative way. This is about feeling comfortable within our thoughts, that we're empowered. Our beliefs may have changed, and that could have rocked us a bit. Saturn might have shown us where our beliefs need to change. If we've been having negative self-beliefs all this time, due to our worth and values, feeling a bit, down, etc., from either ourselves or from what other people have told us in the past, and that's what we've discovered when we've got to the root of all of this, then this is about now clearing this up, because we've seen it. Okay, Saturn has shown us where there's been self-limiting beliefs. So our beliefs are therefore changing, and we need to feel empowered to own those positive self-beliefs and not drift into the negative self-beliefs, negative self-talk, because Aries is all about that empowerment of our sovereign self and taking action for what we want. And we might not have felt empowered to do so because we've had these issues going on with our worth and values. So all of this transformation, all of this change that's been needed, and the healing journey we've been on may have shown us where we've actually been thinking about things in a completely different way, where we've been thinking about things with a negative filter on them, because we've not believed in our worth, we've not believed in our values. And now, with Saturn highlighting where that might have been the case because of choices made over the past few years, or where there might still be some lessons, where there might be karma that's coming up that needs to be cleansed, all of that that's coming up as part of the healing journey that we are healing, and we're getting that divine feminine energy to support us through that healing. Those aspects of where we've been telling ourselves that we're not worthy and we're realizing actually we are worthy is empowerment of ourselves. So we need to be proud of that. And therefore, if we're proud of it, we should feel able and free and open to express that as that true expression of self based on our integrity and, of course, authenticity. And anything that we've recognized that is not in alignment with us, we should feel free and open to express that. If things need to change, if connections need to change, etc., 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 we should feel free and empowered to be able to say, because we've learned those lessons, it's been highlighted to us, and change is needed. So we are following the energy in that way. And there is a lot going on. We have had a lot to deal with, but definitely getting into alignment with our truth, our integrity, our values, our worth, having to go to the depth, to the root of issues to truly understand where this trauma might be coming from, why we believe we're not worthy of things, has been a lot to deal with. So that's why we need to recognize the divine feminine energy that's there to support us. So we've got feminine energy within us and we have masculine energy within us. So we need to ensure that we are now taking the action that we need to with the Aries energy, and certainly when we move into Aries season. And also ensuring that the feminine aspects within us are giving that nurturing that we need to get us through the healing journey, to continue on the healing journey. So it's very powerful, all of this. I'm just going to stop sharing. It's very powerful. And as I mentioned before, if you're sensitive to energy, you could be feeling this, not only for yourself, but you could be feeling it within the collective. There's a lot of energy that's coming up to be transmuted. Of course, we've got the new moon in Aries that's coming up on the 21st. It will be for the UK, I believe. I'm just going to check on my list there. And of course, the sun is going to be moving into Aries tomorrow. So it's tomorrow evening for us in the UK. But the sun will be in Aries, so we'll be in Aries season. Then we've got the new moon coming not long after that. So great for manifestation and intention settings, and Aries energy, again, cardinal energy, taking action, what we want to move forward with, you know, what we want to do, having the courage, empowering ourselves to do that. And then Thursday, we have Pluto moving into Aquarius, and that's going to be big. So that is where this kind of purge energy comes from. And it's recognizing that if you're aware of what needs to be released and you're setting those intentions to manifest what you want in your life, recognizing that certain things need to change or transform or be released, then that is full awareness of what is in alignment with your soul, and to not put that kind of layer over to shut those feelings down, because that's something that's been coming up for the past week or so. We've had to deal with a lot of that Piscean subconscious energy. So a lot of subconscious fears and doubts have been coming up to the surface to be accepted, acknowledged, and released, transmuted into unconditional love, of course. But we've needed to accept them, because if we don't accept them as fears or doubts, then we're kind of blocking them out. And we need to accept them, because that shows that we're learning, we're evolving, we're progressing on this journey, and we are aware of, you know, we have the awareness. And that's what that Piscean gift of Pisces season can give us, because it is us connecting with that high priestess energy. So that's not to be taken lightly. It's extremely powerful. We've got source energy running through us, and we've got our intuition. We can always check in with our intuition, but we need to listen to what our intuition is telling us, the truth of it, and recognize what is really in alignment with our truth, what is really in alignment with our values, and what needs to change, what needs to transform, what is no longer working. Have you noticed in your own life that certain things have already started to fall away just naturally? It doesn't matter what it is, you know, if that's resonating for you, this is because the energy is calling for change. And there are certain things or certain connections that are no longer in alignment. So they're having to sort of fall away. And that sounds dramatic, but this is the energy of the time. And Saturn doesn't mess around. You know, Saturn is serving up karmic returns. So we need to recognize these lessons. What has Saturn shown you from the past 3 years that maybe those choices are no longer in alignment? They might have been back then for one reason or another, but this is again where beliefs may have changed, thoughts may have changed, because further clarity has come in over that time. This is that awareness now of where has Saturn shown you that that was maybe the wrong choice for the long term. And now with Mercury in Aries, being truthful with the sovereign self within and feeling empowered about what it is you actually want, not what you don't want, in order to express that fully and communicate that fully, even if it's just to yourself. But where does change need to happen? Where does change need to happen with connections? Where does change need to happen in work situations? If things like that are coming up, it's recognizing that you can apply that strategic energy of Aries in order to take action, because just having that plan to take action is still taking action. But to not feel pressured or burdened by the energy, to appreciate that the healing journey is still going on, and that's in Aries. So we're still healing the sovereign self. Think of it as, you know, that warrior self of Aries, having been in a battle and needing to now heal. So think of yourself as nurturing yourself with that feminine energy through this masculine energy of Aries in order to get that balance, and recognizing that this is contributing to extremely powerful transformation. And I'm sure if this is resonating for you, you can look at this and feel that if you looked back, maybe even in the past few years, that you're a different person now than you were in terms of your spiritual growth, in terms of your spiritual evolution. And that is something to be proud of. And it might have been hard, but those lessons, everything we go through and we learn, we gain that clarity, we gain that wisdom. So then when we come across a similar situation, we've got that wisdom within, it's held within our soul. It's held within our wisdom bank, within our intuition, our inner compass, and we are more empowered to guide ourselves forward. But if we didn't go through those challenging times and those lessons and those experiences, how are we ever going to know that that was wrong? How are we ever going to know what is right for us? So that's why you should feel empowered, because where things have been showing up as not right or not in alignment, that is a sign that you are becoming more aware of your own divine integrity, and that's extremely powerful. So I'm going to leave it there. It was only going to be a short video. Apologies, because I am a Pisces. I do like to sort of, you know, talk and talk and talk about various different things, and I kind of go here, there and everywhere, but hopefully it resonates for you in some way. Now I just want to refer to my list here to make sure I've captured everything. So Mercury, of course, in Aries is what this video is all about. We've got the spring equinox tomorrow. So this is, of course, for us in the northern hemisphere. It will be the autumn equinox for the southern hemisphere. We then have the sun moving into Aries, of course, tomorrow as well. For us in the UK, it will be at night. It's 21:25 GMT tomorrow, Monday, the 20th of March. Then we have the new moon on the 21st or the 22nd, depending on where you are. And then we have Pluto on the 23rd, coming into Aquarius, and that's going to be powerful. And that is, again, just referring to my list here, 12:24 GMT. So midday for us in the UK on Thursday is when Pluto is going to make his move into Aquarius. We also have Mars moving into Cancer, and that's on Saturday, the 25th. So to round the week off, we have Mars, ruler of Aries, moving into Cancer. Of course, the moon's home and that divine feminine energy. So again, we've got masculine energy there moving into feminine energy. And at the moment, we've got Venus in a masculine sign. So there is a balancing out of this. But there's a lot, you know, and then we've, of course, got the full moon coming up at the beginning of April. So anything that's coming up right now that you're recognizing needs to change. Whoa, I've seen Saturn's lessons. Okay, now I've got to take action. I've gone within Mercury and Pisces. I've communicated to my soul. My soul has communicated back to me. I know what I need to do. I know where my beliefs need to change. I know where my thought patterns need to change. I need to take a different perspective on this. And this is what I want to do. And this is what I'm going to express. Mercury in Aries in accordance with my sovereign self. I know what needs to change regarding my worth and values, Uranus in Taurus. I know what needs to be transformed, and it's going to be deep. Pluto, all of this is coming up, and it's going to bring balance at the end of it. But we need to go through these experiences in order to understand what is not right for us, so that we know what is right for us. Sending you love and blessings. Before I go, I'm going to take some cards. Okay. From the Astro deck, let's see what we have for this week ahead. What do we have for this week ahead? Saturn. Don't know why I said it in that way. Boy, oh boy, has Saturn been showing us. Okay. What do we have, please, for the collective for this week ahead? What do we have for the collective? Thank you, that one there. Oh, so that one is 10th house in reverse. So this is all about that social status aspect or work, the 10th house. But of course, on this card, it says authority. So this is testing our authority. But remember that Aries energy is all about the warrior self. So that in itself carries authority. We need to embody our own authority when it comes to these changes. What's right for us, what isn't right for us. Okay, what else do we have, please? Thank you. Wow. Can you believe it? I can, because this is Spirit confirming. Thank you so much, Spirit. Mercury. Just drink that in for a bit. And messages. So again, communication. We need to be communicating Mercury in Aries in accordance with our inner authority. So because 10th house is reversed, this is definitely the need to empower ourselves, our own authority. We need to take charge of our own authority, be the leader of our lives, and communicate and express that. Mercury's in the upright position. Okay, one more. One more, thank you. Well, that wasn't one more. Okay. What else do we have for the collective? Thank you. Okay, the energy's a bit, just grind it a bit. Okay. What else do we have for the collective? Well, yeah. Okay, so Saturn wanted to show himself again. Yeah, and what we have here, because it came out with two others, so that one, as we know, flipped out. So Saturn wants to be seen. Saturn wants to be heard. So even though this is about the Mercury in Aries transit, obviously I've touched on the other planetary aspects. Saturn wants to be heard. These lessons that he is showing us, there needs to be that truthful expression to ourselves of where we've needed to take back our authority, take back our power as our sovereign self, because it's been imbalanced. Libra in reverse. And remember I said Ceres is there, so expanding the need for balance and maybe showing us where there isn't balance or where there hasn't been balance. And that's why it's been challenging our inner authority, because there's not been balance. And then we have Leo. So we have that majestic lion that we all hold within, that courageous lion. And it says on this card, shine. So this is all about true expression of self. So it all completely matches up. That one wanted to be seen, which is the 9th house in reverse. That came up as I showed you the UK chart. So another confirmation about beliefs. It's of course about exploring and learning things as well, but that I feel is more about what have we learned about ourselves during this process? What are we still learning about ourselves in this process? Where do our beliefs need to change when it comes to our own authority? Because that's connected to our worth and values as well. We need to be that true expression of self. You know, the sun rules Leo, the sun shines no matter what. The sun is massive. So we need to have that true, full expression of self. And again, be open. So I keep coming back to that, be open to who we are and to not be afraid to express it. Saturn is showing us where we might have shied away from that. And that's also linking into what needs to change. So the energy is, of course, working together. Now we have descendant in reverse on the bottom as well. So you might want to just check where your descendant placement is. And Vesta is there with that sacred flame energy of Goddess Bridget, Saint Bridget, Vesta, the divine feminine nurturing energy that is still there in Aries, assisting with the healing journey. So recognize that that's powerful. I'm just going to take a card from the Queen of the Moon deck. That one fell out as boundaries. So yeah, knowing what boundaries you might need to have in place, and also where you need to let your guard down a bit in situations, but feeling empowered enough to know where your boundaries are, where your limits are. Okay, what do we have for the collective, please? Queen of the Moon, thank you. Yeah, feel this. This is that weight of that energy of the healing journey, but also carrying the stuff that needs to be released, carrying the stuff that needs to be transformed and transmuted. This is about resilience as well. We have carried this weight, metaphorically, for so long. And this is also why change is needed, because as a divine soul, are we worthy of carrying all of that? Are we worthy of carrying all of this that could even be other people's? Ask yourself honestly, because Saturn's going to show you. And that's where we need to be honest with that Mercury energy. And I feel very empowered saying this now, because when I see this, I see somebody that's burdened and tired. And this is not fair. And we need the fairness. Libra in reverse, we've got to bring back the balance and the fairness. So this is where it makes me think of the 10 of Wands in tarot, which is the ending of something, because it's too burdensome. We want to put that weight down. We have carried it for so long, and this healing journey is allowing us to release it. Now, resilience, that's a testament to our power. That's actually a testament to our inner authority, because we know we are strong because we've had to carry this. But there is also strength with the boundaries that we saw. There is also strength in knowing when we need to put this down. Hidden energy fruition in reverse. So nothing can grow from that situation. That's why in the 10 of Wands, which I always think of when I see this, if you're aware of tarot, obviously 10s are about, you know, cycle closeouts as well, completions. It's the end of a cycle, it's the end of a tough cycle. And we might have been kind of carrying other people's burdens as well, which isn't fair. So how can something grow? How can we have a fruitful harvest when that's in reverse because we're carrying this? So it's recognition of that, and that could be being illuminated, or may have been illuminated. Let's just see if we've got another message. Yeah, that one jumped. Hunger. We're hungry for something else. We're hungry for change. And this feels, because it's a kind of nighttime scene, it almost feels like that is that subconscious hunger for change. It could be hidden. You know, we've got it within us that we know we're hungering for change. We don't want to be like that, do we? So what needs to change? We've got that craving for something new. And I think of the wolf as well as a leader, but also a warrior, a fighter, and somebody who has the strength to know what they want. And the wolf howls. Expression. The wolf is expressing himself or herself in their authenticity. So be the wolf. And this path that's been illuminated after having gone through some darkness, again, those subconscious fears and doubts that could have been coming up as part of the healing journey, and everything going on planetary wise at the moment, as above, so below, as within, so without. The path is being illuminated now. Saturn is helped illuminate the path. We just need to feel empowered enough to embrace that Aries energy, to have the confidence and the courage to be our true sovereign self in order to move forward, to take action, to have courage, to move forward, to go towards what we want. Fire energy, cardinal energy, kickstarting things. New season, new astrological year. But we've had to go through the dark times. The healing journey could feel like that, but the path is lit. So there is light there. Very powerful. Whew, very powerful. And I felt that as well. Sorry, that felt like it was partly kind of coming straight through from spirit. Somebody out there that's going to resonate for. So I hope it finds you well. I'll be back with other videos further into the week as we get, and of course as we get closer to Pluto moving into Aquarius. As Pluto gets closer to the door into Aquarius, then yes, there will be further videos and insights coming through. Just recognize where you know what is in alignment with your truth and your values, where you know things need to change and transform, and taking the appropriate action, even if it's just that expression, truthful expression to yourself, Mercury in Aries, of what's in alignment with what you want, not what you don't want, because Mercury in Pisces has shown you what it is that you want and what you don't want. Saturn is showing you where maybe wrong choices have been made in the past. They might not have been wrong at the time. It's important to mention that, because we're guided to learn lessons, but this is all about lessons that we may not have yet learned from. So Saturn is showing us, and it's taking that on board in order to move forward whilst we're going through this healing journey as well. It's all part of it. So feel empowered. Aries is going to call for that empowerment of self. It's the house of the self. We need to feel empowered as ourselves and not worry about what other people think, not worry what other people are doing. This is about ourselves. So feel empowered. Sending you love and blessings. Take care for now.